And the fine print on our confirmation certificate tells us when we share our initial faith, what should we zero in on? What's that? Christ. This is where we should start in sharing our faith. Well, let's examine how we can do this. You might ask, okay, Vic, how in heaven's name are we going to do this? Has anyone ever looked in a catalog or in a Catholic library? Are there a lot of books out there on the Catholic faith? There are hundreds and thousands and tens of thousands of stuff out there, books on the Catholic faith. Where does one start in learning the basics of our faith? Well, let's go to the Bible and let's let the Bible tell us how we should first know our faith and then share our faith. You ready? Let's go to our first pope, Peter again. 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 2.
Like newborn infants, long for pure spiritual milk, so that through it you may grow into salvation.
Okay, Peter is saying, like newborn infants, long for pure spiritual milk, so that you may grow into salvation. Peter is saying we should be like babies in our spiritual life. And also, let's go back a couple books in the New Testament. 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 1 and 2.
Brothers, I could not talk to you as a spiritual people, but as fleshly people, as infants in Christ. I fed you milk, not solid food, because you were unable to take it. Indeed, you are still not able even now.
Did you hear what Paul said? He says, you're infants in Christ. Since you were an infant in Christ, or a baby Christian, what did Paul feed these baby Christians? What did you say he fed them here? Milk. How many of you had a baby before? A child before? What did you feed that baby for the first couple of months of its life? Why didn't you feed them a Big Mac?
Too much.
They're not ready for it. A baby is not ready for a Big Mac. A baby is ready for milk. What does milk do for that baby? It nourishes it. And what happens to that baby when it receives milk? It grows. This is what we do with babies. We feed it milk so it can grow. Well, you know what? In our spiritual lives, every single person, regardless of where you are now, started as a spiritual baby. Do you realize that? We all started as babies. And we need to be fed spiritual milk in order to grow as a Christian. And that's what I'd like to address next. How we're supposed to grow as a Christian. But before we do that, let's take a break. And we're not having milk, unfortunately. In order to grow up as a Christian, we have to think we are at one point spiritual babies. And we need to be fed milk in order to grow as a Christian. And this is what I like to address right now. The absolute basics, the absolute foundation of our Catholic faith. Have any of you ever built a house before? Yeah, well, or had one built. No? Well, help me out. If someone was going to build a house, what is the first thing that they put in? The foundation. The foundation is essential in building our house or in establishing our faith. And I like to draw this. A lot of you have seen this hundreds of times from me. If you think about this as our faith has a foundation. And what we need to do as Christians is to establish a firm foundation for our faith. What happens if we, as Christians, have a really shoddy foundation? What's going to happen to the rest of our faith? When we start to build upon a shoddy foundation, what's going to happen? It's going to come down. It's going to collapse. We're going to lose our faith. It's important that we establish a firm foundation. And then when we have that firm foundation, then when we start building upon it, we'll be solid in our faith. Well, the same is true with our Catholic faith. We need to determine what is the absolute foundation of our Catholic faith, know it, understand it, and accept it. And then when we have that, then start building upon it. So, are you ready to start with some Catholic milk? I don't mean chocolate milk, I mean Catholic milk. Let's talk about Catholic milk, or the absolute foundation of our faith. And that brings us to question number 10 on our quiz. Question number 10. What is the essential foundation of our faith that I should have put every in capital letters, bold it, and underline it. Every Catholic must understand and believe. This is what is called the foundation of our faith. Does anyone know the answer to that question? It's called the basic gospel message. In my class, I like to call it the BGM. So if I go BGM, you'll know what it is. The basic gospel message. Have any of you ever heard that term before? The gospel message? The gospel? This is it. Why do you think this message is so important? It's going to establish our foundation. You might be asking yourself, well, what about the liturgy? What about sacraments? What about the Eucharist? How can anything be more important than that? Well, those things are important. But those things are built upon the foundation. If you don't understand this foundation, I will guarantee you that sacraments, the Eucharist, the papacy, all the other things in the Catholic Church, they won't mean as much to you. So, let's dig in and find out, what is this basic gospel message? Okay? Ready to go to a book of the Bible? Acts of the Apostle. Little trivia question. Where is Acts located in the Bible? Acts of the Apostles. Old Testament or New Testament? New. Where in the New Testament? Right after the Gospels. Very good.